Once, in a quiet town nestled deep in the woods, there stood an abandoned asylum. The building had long been a source of dark stories and chilling legends. Locals whispered tales of patients who had mysteriously vanished within its ominous walls, and those who dared to enter never returned. One crisp autumn evening, a group of adventurous friends gathered around a campfire, sharing spooky tales in the fading light. Among them was Emma, a curious young woman who loved exploring abandoned places. As the night deepened, they couldn't resist the temptation any longer. Armed with flashlights and fueled by the thrill of adventure, they decided to investigate the Forgotten Asylum. The asylum loomed ahead, its massive doors slightly ajar, inviting them to step inside. The moon cast eerie shadows on the cracked windows, and the wind whispered through the overgrown trees, creating an unsettling symphony. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of decay. Dust danced in the beams of their flashlights as they cautiously made their way down dimly lit corridors. The walls seemed to absorb their footsteps, muffling any sound. As they ventured deeper, they discovered patient rooms with rusted beds and tattered restraints. The remnants of a once bustling infirmary lay in disarray. The group couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, but they pressed on. In the heart of the asylum, they stumbled upon a decrepit room with a locked door. They could hear faint, eerie whispers coming from behind it, like distant pleas for help. Emma felt compelled to find out what lay beyond that door. With a firm kick, they forced the door open. Inside, they found a small, dimly lit chamber filled with old medical equipment and rotting paperwork. But what drew their attention was a series of crude drawings on the walls. They depicted disturbing scenes of patients in various states of distress, their eyes hollow and filled with terror. Emma's unease grew, but she couldn't tear her eyes away from the drawings. As she examined them, she noticed something chilling. The drawings seemed to be signed with her own name, as if they had been created just for her. A cold shiver ran down her spine as the whispers grew louder, echoing in her mind. She stumbled back, realizing that she was now separated from her friends. Panic set in as she called out to them, but her voice seemed to vanish into the darkness. Emma desperately retraced her steps, but the asylum seemed to shift and change around her, like a labyrinth designed to confuse and trap her. She could feel an unseen presence closing in. In a moment of terror, she entered a room she hadn't seen before. The walls were lined with mirrors that reflected her frightened expression. She felt as though countless eyes were watching her, and her own reflection seemed to distort and contort, mirroring her fear. The room grew colder, and the mirrors cracked, revealing glimpses of a shadowy figure lurking behind her. Emma turned to confront it, but the figure was gone. Instead, she found herself staring at a mirror that showed a reflection of the room she had entered from, but with one terrifying difference. It was filled with the restless spirits of the asylum's forgotten patients. With a gasp, Emma realized that she had stumbled into a supernatural realm, a place where the souls of the tormented lingered in perpetual agony. She had inadvertently crossed the boundary between the living and the dead. Desperation consumed her as she tried to escape the nightmarish room, but the mirrors seemed to multiply, trapping her in an endless maze of reflections. The whispers grew louder, their voices a chorus of anguish. As Emma's hope began to wane, a faint glimmer of light appeared in the distance. With renewed determination, she followed it, navigating the labyrinth of mirrors. The light grew stronger, leading her back to the chamber with the locked door. Her friends stood there, panic etched on their faces. They had been searching for her, unaware of the supernatural ordeal she had endured. Together, they forced open the door and escaped the asylum, leaving behind the haunting echoes of the forgotten souls. As they emerged into the moonlit night, they realized that the asylum had returned to its abandoned, lifeless state. Emma's friends could hardly believe her account of the supernatural realm within. The Forgotten Asylum remained a place of darkness and despair, its secrets hidden from the living. Emma's experience, however, served as a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed, for the line between the living and the dead is thinner than one might imagine, and the echoes of the past can be both haunting and relentless.